Hello everybody, thank you for joining us at this campfire session today. I'm excited to introduce you to our guests here, and let's start with Dinos Mihailidis, the director at DGM Technology Solutions, who is industry expert with years of experience in the financial field, and Victor Ivanov, the regional head of business development of EMEA region, who is actually sitting in Cyprus and having a team there, and he has also quite an extensive experience in the field. So let's kick off this session right now, and let me just introduce you to the idea, the general idea of this, of today's conversation, and we will go over the pros and cons of building the copy trading in-house, or just applying it from the vendor. We will also discuss how to build a strong infrastructure around social trading, particularly touching the points and challenges that can be faced, and the stability of the ecosystem for big and small brokerages. So the first question, Victor, having an experience for years at brokerage, you can imagine what it takes to create a copy trading product. So what are the advantages and disadvantages, of course, of going for a third-party solution over building it in-house? Could you share some expertise?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our session. So, first of all, talking about pros and cons of building your own copy trading solution or taking from the third-party vendor. Let's say about some. Of course, some clients, they consider it as an option, but from my experience and my point of view, building your own platform is barely an option. Of course, like talking about positive things about it, you have your full access to source code, custom features, so any business idea, any business case can be applied to your solution. And also you have full control on all the settings, on all the environments, and the whole, let's say, platform. So this is definitely something positive about it. But talking about cons, first of all, of course, it's price. So the development is going to take a lot of money and a lot of time for testing because talking about copy trading, it's real-time copy, so it's real-time system. It should be always on, always active, and it's actually a big job. Also, talking about the maintenance of it, so after launch, you need R&D team to support, to maintain, you need support team to manage the client experience and all any problems with the problem, if any. And as well as it's kind of an in-house technology, so it shouldn't be, so it's going to be based only on your business cases. If you use the third-party vendor solution, this solution will be built based on multiple experience of multiple brokers, multiple clients. They will bring their idea about settings, about nodes, about all the technology. The exposure will be bigger. Actually, it will be tested in many infrastructures and cases. So I think, like generally speaking, taking the copy trading system from a third-party vendor is, for me, it looks like much more beneficial for brokerage.
Thank you. And I assume the resources would be also taken a lot of out of the company when they're trying to build it in-house, right?
Yes, definitely. What I just told, it's all about money and time. And while you like working on based on your technical task, third-party vendors, they have huge teams who's working on it, a lot of experience, so they can introduce it faster.
Thank you. Dinos, would you agree with that? Do you have anything to add from that perspective?
Yeah, so also from our side, thank you everybody for joining this panel. Great to be here, thank you for the invite. I repeat and I kind of echo a lot of those. I agree with all of that. It makes a lot of sense to go with the third party for various several reasons. A lot of that is, cost to opportunity. So, a third-party developer or third-party provider has focused and they've got the dedicated resources for, developing exactly that product, and that's their main business focus. While if you're a broker, there's gonna be a lot of costly lessons, until you get to that point where the system's ready to go, and then there's, the time to develop, all the bugs that you need to find, and it's also that pace, that scale to maturity, which plays also a role. And that's what I mean by that is, if you're one broker, your product as a social trading platform is evolving based on you, one single broker, as opposed to third party. The scale to maturity is based on many multiple brokers, and that feedback's coming back from the market back into the platform and getting developed accordingly. So those are the pros, with the third party, and then I guess the cons are, what the advantages are if you develop in-house is you're not dependent on that third party to be around, right? So what if something happens to that third party developer and they go out of business? Now you're left with a platform that's you can't support essentially. But then you do your due diligence. So there's you pull from two ends. Do your due diligence and make sure that that third party developer is going to be around. And I guess the other one is customize. The flexibility around customization, because as a third party developer, they've also got a business to run, and it's got to make sense. Any addition to the product has to make sense across a broad spectrum. It's got to be valuable to multiple brokers, and if there's a customizing request that is really unique and is only for that one broker, you're going to get, most probably you're going to get either a rejection or a very high quote to develop. So that I guess is one disadvantage. But then again, I'm going to put counter argue that and then say, well, the third party is developing based on the feedback from a wider, in most cases, a wider audience. So they're most likely done the development that the market wants. So there's so many dynamics, perspectives to look at it.
Yeah, the market wants and the traders want it, actually. That's the main goal here.
And then the technology provider can gather this all up from different perspectives, and then at the end of the day create something available for all kind of, whatever people want, whatever companies need. And talking about that, Dino, so what at the end of the day a brokerage should pay attention to when they're choosing a vendor, since there are so many advantages on that side? What would be the points that they would need to pay attention to actually to specify?
Yeah, so at DGM, where we service many brokers, from the largest brokers in the industry to the smallest startups and even small brokerage firms. The way we approach it and how we consult and advise is first, make sure that third party vendor that's chosen is compatible with your existing infrastructure and your existing systems. So compatibility, right? So if you've got whatever trading platforms you have, whatever members area, CRM, whatever it is, the goal is to reduce the amount of custom dev work. If the third-party vendor has already done the development work and it's already working at existing brokerage firms, then that's great. You don't need to go through that kind of bugs and whatever it is. So that's one thing, compatibility. And another point that we look at is to not disrupt the client's journey too much. So when introducing a social trading platform, and especially for brokerage firms that are already in operation and they're offering their standard products, you don't want a customer to be jumping from one system to another and re-logging in and then
Client experience.
Yeah, the client experience. Just pay attention to the client experience and see how to seamlessly integrate this new platform into your existing architect, the design of your platforms. Yeah, and yeah, and then next, what I mentioned before is just make sure that that third-party vendor is going to be around. You know, go with the industry leaders, I guess, the ones that are out there trying and test it, and unless you're really sure that if you're the first brokerage firm that's going to develop, just make sure that that company's going to be around. So we do the due diligence.
Support is pretty
Yeah,
important.
support.
That,
Yeah.
yeah. Victor, anything from your end to add?
On the technology point of view, I don't think they have a lot to add. But what I want to mention, like especially, it's what James just said about being around. But it's not only about being around; it's about trust. I think, yeah,
At the
because
end of the day.
it's real-time systems, always on, a lot of clients involved. So this is the main thing, to trust to this provider, to have a good relationship that they support you, they have the same goals you have, to grow your business together. So I think that's also the very main reason, and something you should talk about and think about first. If you trust these people, probably they will do their best to resolve it.
Right. I mean, what I can add here, also that when people are choosing between different providers, right? At the end of the day, it's not only one company who's providing copy trading. So when it comes to the choice, right, to choosing one of them, that's all about the trust, the support, and the functionality that is offered, right? So
Reputation.
reputation matters. Word of mouth also matters. Makes sense. Talking about the infrastructure, you mentioned that. So how can a broker actually ensure that the infrastructure that they have is ready to be scalable? So Victor, I believe you're working with all kind of clients, right? So when are they ready to move up?
Yeah, recently we have a number of projects with pretty much, let's say, large brokerage firm on the market with high volume, large amount of clients. And actually, there is, I think, three main points here. First is functionality of the platforms, meaning trading platform, not functionality, but capacity of the platform. Because we're talking about core, that do all the calculations. So the calculation should go smooth, fast, and real automated, of course, and reliable. So first thing is core, and how these two systems, like trading platform and copy trading platform, work together. Second thing is connection. So it's especially important when we talk about scalability. We know that like large brokerage firm, they have clients all over the world. The infrastructure is split between different locations. So generally it's hosting, but the main thing is speed of connection, because it's again real-time system. We need that, to ensure that the connection between all the elements of the system is fast enough and reliable enough. And the last thing is about data protection. Here I'm talking about not only about personal data, but about keeping the data of this social trading environment safe. I mean, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of data about connections between links between followers and signal providers, or masters, whatever you call it. And also history about trading, about transactions, I mean commissions, everything which is connected to social trading. So this data should be secure and backup for sure. So especially when we talk about scalable, on a large scale.
So do you mean it should stay within one system, or like how does that work? Like your last point.
I'm talking about, so we talk about scalability.
Right.
So in this matter, this is something every broker should think about additionally.
Oh.
It depends on, we talk about multiple solutions for social trading, there are a lot of them in the market. So how they build, they can be built differently, but this data should be protected. On how the two can be protected, I think Dinas have more experience
Yeah.
with it.
Dinos, do you?
And so when you talk about scalability, right, you can talk about it from different standpoints, perspectives. One is the system able to adapt to increase or decrease in demand, right? So a brokerage, or when you go live with a platform, you don't know what to expect in terms of the traffic you can predict. But if the capacity of your infrastructure, and I'm speaking purely from an infrastructure standpoint, scalability could also mean, is it adaptable to the addition of a new platform or whatever it is. But purely from an infrastructure standpoint, there's different technologies out there that exist, but I guess in the context of our industry, and the majority of the social trading platforms are not built on what I'm referring to here is microservices and containerization or Kubernetes, Docker, which is basically a technology that automatically deploys new machines to cope with the increased demand, the resources of the system, the infrastructure, CPU, RAM, whatever it is, and then decreases also accordingly. And this happens in an automatic way. But for that to work, the platforms need to be built with microservices, where you don't have one process that's running the entire application. It's broken up into many services, and in that way you have containerization. So not to get too technical, but I guess that's a little bit out of the scope of what scalability means here. But in terms of infrastructure, what a brokerage can do, and what I guess makes what's valuable for the audience is, what do we do today? And that's one of two options. Your hosting provider, if you have your social trading platform hosted on a dedicated server, it's just, I guess, ensuring that you're able to quickly increase the resources. If that's a dedicated server, increase the resources of that dedicated server fairly quickly, and proactively, don't wait for last minute. Or if the platform can run on a virtual private server, that makes it easier, so a VPS can be spun up very quickly. And what's important is that the platform can run as one platform with multiple servers underneath, servicing and making the system run as a whole. So, in the discussion of scalability, this is how a brokerage firm should look at it: is first understand the architecture on how that third-party developer is developed, and can it run on dedicated or VPS server, and then just align it with the way you're hosting that, and that's in my mind scalability. And you increase proactively.
Okay, let me touch the really good point about the vendor, right, for the server, because whether it's just the starting point for introducing social trading or you're becoming more scalable, server matters, right, and how fast it's being increased as more people come and use it, then it's obviously like a point that should be considered from the very beginning, from the very start, and up to the growing point. So we discussed one side of it, but when it comes to the fact that brokers would start introducing the copy trading system, right, whether it's in-house or from a vendor, what challenges might be faced, what problems can brokers have when it comes to the introduction of a new system, of a new service? Did you have any experiences before, Dinos?
Yeah, so we've had different challenges, and we address them, and it's also obviously on a case-by-case basis. If you're a startup, it's very easy. You start from a clean slate, and it's just there's a whole lot that you don't need to consider, and this applies to whether you're a small brokerage firm with a few dozen clients, or bigger with many thousands. If you've got existing platforms in place, this is what it is you don't want to disrupt. We briefly touched on this before. You don't want to disrupt the client's, journey, their workflow. You want to make their access to these systems and in any introduction to a new offering needs to be as seamless as possible. So that's one challenge that we've seen is where do we put this in on the members area, and how do we make it easy for that customer to participate in social trading if they want to, and reduce those obstacles. So that's one challenge, and then the other is in the event of redundancy, right? So redundancy is an important one. Is there a redundant platform? What if your primary location goes down? Will the secondary one pick up? Is that automated and or not? And if it's not, how can you ensure what is that kind of the disaster recovery process? Is it in place, and what needs to happen so that your customers don't experience any downtime? And when we're talking about social trading, if the system goes down and you're following someone and they're supposed to close the trade and they didn't close it, a whole lot of things can go wrong. These are one of the challenges. This redundancy for sure. The client's journey is another one. I don't remember it all, but there's so many different challenges, and it's part of what we do. It's part of our job. It's what we enjoy doing. It's that's what as DGM we're here to solve, and in cooperation with associate partners like brokerage. That's what we do together. We have fun at the same time.
Challenges are fun to solve, right?
Yeah.
Victor, anything from your end? Because you were working also with enterprise brokerages, with startups. So did they experience anything when introducing the system?
Yeah. So from what I can say here is business perspective of the question. First of all, is the way how brokerage usually onboard the client. Directly over CRM, there are a lot of ways to do it, and it should be very smooth. So it should be very compatible with social trading platform, and it should go smooth. Another thing is that let's say accounting point of view, because there are a lot of regulations, different clients under different regulations, different locations, different settings. Different clients have different conditions of trading, and when we combine them all together, when they copy trades, that's actually usually a challenge to work on it, just to build a process of how to make it smooth, legal, and comfortable for clients.
Okay, yeah, regulations would be a good point, right? Where you are applying the system to which market.
Yeah, and how do you combine clients and providers, traders from different regulations?
Okay, all right, thank you. But talking about companies of different sizes, since I touched that point, would the implementation of copy trading differ from enterprise to these ambitious startup brokerages? Would it be any different? From your experience, for example?
Yeah, so when you talk about an enterprise like a larger broker who's far further down the maturity of their business, chances are that they've introduced a lot more plugins, a lot more solutions and other systems in place. So one of the challenges is to make sure that you don't have any conflicts with your existing infrastructure. And as opposed to the smaller businesses, they're more agile, more flexible in terms of making any additions or introducing a new value add to the business. And while this is wrong to say, is that I guess they can afford mistakes. But that's not correct to say. Regardless, if you're a smaller business, you do have a lot more agility. To the nature of how you are.
From marketing perspective, would it also be any different, do you think, or it's just same, just promotion?
Yeah, well, here the larger businesses have an advantage, right? So they've really, you've really got the client base in place, and it's just flick of a button, notification. Here it's ready. While the smaller business has to find that customer. So the upside is on the enterprise, larger business.
You knowing that you're working with all kind of different sizes, right?
Yeah, definitely. From what I see, the most successful businesses they plan their infrastructure and the whole idea of their business and whole services they're going to provide from scratch. So they don't implement it like from the very beginning, but they have a vision, they have a plan, and at every stage they check if this stage is compatible with their plans for future. So in this case, all the next steps, implementation of any third-party vendor solution so they will have what they expect, how their infrastructure was prepared for what it is prepared, and all the processes will run smooth because who is going to play long, they need to have a good start.
And last but not least point, let's just wrap it up to see what would be the key elements when it comes to ensure the stability of a chosen copy trading system, right? So what would be the checklist when a broker is applying copy trading? Could you just walk me through just a couple of points?
So for what was told, and we're talking about like target to scale the copy trading business with this solution and to apply to a lot of clients, to a big number of clients. Of course, a lot of things connected with infrastructure, as was said, technology, integration, powers of integration. Hosting means performance of the infrastructure and speed of connection between different elements. Then I think Dinas talked about scalability of the infrastructure on the server level, security, the backup of the personal data and the data of the platform, which is used for operations. And business structure, business cases, accounting, regulation, this kind of stuff. Did I forget something?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a checklist and making sure, stability of the platform for sure, and every business should have this is a sandbox environment that is a replica of your production environment, and any introduction to any new system that's going to get introduced into the production environment, obviously, do your testing.
Backup perhaps as well.
100%. So first is sandbox environment, make sure there's no conflicts, and then backups. Right? So both real-time backup for failover and just data backup. Generally redundancy in general. That's important. And kind of planning for potentially, and what hopefully any broker or any business is looking for is growth, and planning for that and being able to sustain that. In terms of stability, you don't want to reach a point where you've got this upward momentum, and then you reach a point where just many more customers are seeing problems. So you want to kind of keep that momentum going with stable systems and foreseeing any increase in infrastructure when and as and when required, not exactly what to do in the case that you have to increase. There's the disaster recovery procedure, so in the event there is a failover, what is that failover? What do we do quickly? How do we quickly respond to customers? These things, stability.
And the client experience as well, right? How easy it is, how automated the system is. Perhaps that would be one of the points to also make sure that they are part of the chosen product, whether it's in-house or from a vendor.
Definitely on the stage of choosing the third-party provider.
How it looks from the client perspective.
The main reason, because it's in the end, it's for clients.
Right.
Another point is if you've got the platform integrated with MetaTrader 5, for example, just make sure that all the components that are reliant on providing your solution is going to work. So if, for example, you're on a platform,
if it's going to work at all.
So, for example, right, if you've got MetaTrader 5 and all these accounts, hopefully you've got massive increase in new accounts that are getting opened. well, you got to consider things like, for example, MetaTrader 5, where every trading account takes up a license, and if you run out of licenses, then you're going to have an issue. And it's a good issue to have, but rather avoid that good issue and just, kind of provision, put things in place and make sure you're covered for that upward momentum, hopefully, if it happens.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.